I'm Patrick Bailey with IQlist.com. Today is February 17th, 2020, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to make a Backyardigans bookmark with Fusion 360 and some SVG files. Okay, so what's going on here? So my son, when he was a little kid, liked to watch Backyardigans, and now it became a recurring theme this year at school. They're all older, and for some reason now he wants to do Backyardigans at his birthday party. So I thought, okay, maybe I can 3D print some little novelty to give out, like a little bookmark kind of thing. And so I did this with Pablo. So now I'm going to show you what I'm doing. So to do this, I need to have an SVG file and to tweak it. So what I've gone, there's a lot of stuff you can find. If you can find an SVG file on the internet that's good enough, fantastic. If not, you might want to go to Etsy.com and find some. So if you go there and search for whatever, I found a lot of SVG files. So I already bought and downloaded a Tyrone, which I'm going to use for this video. So the idea is I'm going to take Fusion 360, where you can import an SVG file and do some tweaking and then set up the different layers so that I can actually do multicolored by switching out the filament. So every color here is, as you go forward, a different color. So white would be the base, and then let's see, well, probably blue and so on and so forth until I get all the colors. So it looks, I won't say profesh, but it's interesting looking. So with that, let's get going into Fusion 360. Okay, so I'm going to always assume people are new. A lot of new people coming in, learning this stuff. So if you're new to 3D printing, one of the ways to design stuff, one of the nice tools out there is Fusion 360, which is actually a very nice professional tool where people use this in day-to-day business, in drafting and all kinds of cool stuff for real 3D design. The nice thing is you can download it and use it for free if you're doing it non-for-profit. However, if you're not, then this is I won't say the most expensive thing, but it's a pretty pricey program with like a yearly subscription. And so it is something really used in industry. So one nice thing, coming from a homeschooling perspective, it's really nice to have your kids learn on this, assuming they're older. I would say 13 plus, depending on how good where they are with their minds on how they can do some of their design work. But if they learn this, it's 14, 15, 16, they're learning good drafting design work that can actually be applied in the real business place. So this is really cool. But with that, I'm going to assume people are new to this. So with that, let's say you've downloaded Fusion 360, you open a file. The first thing you need to do is you would go over here to your name, go to Preferences, and go to General. And what you want to do is change the default modeling orientation to Z up. The default's Y up. You want Z up. If you do Z up, then when you design your 3D prints, they'll be oriented in the right way for your slicer. And that'll make life a lot easier for everybody. And if you do that, you click OK. If you've had to change it, you might have to restart the Fusion 360. I don't think so, but if you have a problem, you have to restart it. So I've already done a Pablo one here, and you can kind of see he's all 3D'd out there with his different layers of different colors. But with that, I should probably turn his sketch on and hide the body so I can look at his sketch here and kind of see what I did. Let me see. Go back here and edit the sketch so I can see some of the sizes I did. $25. I think that one was $75, roughly. Yeah. Oh, 50. 25 and 50. Okay, so we'll go over here, and the first thing you want to do is right-click on this and say New Component. This is just good practice. So let me say New Component, and we'll call this, okay, I gotcha, New Component. Don't want to do a sketch yet. New component. And name it. There we go. Tyrone. I believe how do you spell it? Yeah, Tyrone. And then we'll just save this and we'll call it Tyrone. Now the reason you want to have new components is if you're doing something, you have different components, it's easier to deal with versus just one big giant thing. This is going to be one thing, but it's just good practice. So I'll click on this component, I'll click on the origin so I can see it now. I'll right click, and this plane right here is, you can think of it as the surface of your 3D printer. And I'll say create sketch, and I'll hit the S key, which will bring up this sketch shortcut. And the first thing I'll do to help my life out is I'll click this 2-point rectangle. But if you don't see that, you might just search for a rectangle and you'll find this 2-point rectangle. So I'll put a point here to anchor it. And then what I'll do is, you can see that the up and down is selected here. I can type in 50 to lock in that number, and then type in 25 to lock in that lower number. And that's going to give me a rough size on how I want this. And so that rough size is similar to, this rough size here. Now, after having done that, I'll hit Finish Sketch real quick. I want to import my SVG and resize it to get it approximately that size. So I'll come up here and I'll hit Insert, SVG. And I'll go select my SVG file. Let's see, did he print? Tyrone, there we go, Tyrone. And then I have to select where to put it. I'll select there. And you can see it kind of just sticks it there. And so what I want to do is I want to move it. And also I can click here and I can start to resize it. And here I'm using my scroll key to zoom in and out. And if I press that down, I can move it around. So what I want to do is kind of what I did with that. What I do with Pablo is just kind of have him, how close can I get him so he kind of sticks on that. Ah, dang it. Click too many buttons. Let me try it again. I will. I'll finish sketch. Insert SVG. Do it again. Try to resize him to get him approximately that size of that top there. Don't do that. So if I go right about there, it doesn't look too bad. Oh, just a little more down, I think I'm good. Okay, close enough. Hit OK. And so now I have this SVG file, and look, I can select and just put all the lines in there for me. It's really nice. And so what I'll do is I'll come here and I'll delete this, and I will actually delete this too. Those will just kind of give me a guideline. And I'll come down here, I'll hit the L key for a line, and I'll hit that right there. And then I will go down. In fact, I'll go further. Hit that. And I'll come over here, hit escape, hit L for the line key, hit that tip, and again, come down, make sure I'm 90 degrees, hit that. And now I've got all these extra pieces, so I will hit T for trim, and I'll trim that out, and I'll trim that little piece out. Oh, I didn't want to do that. Control Z to undo. Oh, that's going beyond that piece. So I need to delete that. L key there. T for escape. T for trim. Trim that out. Trim that out. Trim that out. There we go. Now I've got that. But now I want to get rid of all these other pieces, so I'll just keep in the trim mode, which is the T button. So I'll just keep selecting all these things. Now you can, there's easier ways to select them all, but there's not that many. Okay, there aren't that many. I hit escape. And now here is some AutoCAD-ism, which Fusion 360 is made by from the AutoCAD people, Autodesk. If I click here and drag from left to right and down, everything that it finds, where it finds everything, you have to have selected the entire thing for it to, and it'll choose that. However, if I go this way, the other way, anything it touches, it'll select everything. So that selects more. This selects only what's actually fully contained inside the box. So I do that, hit delete, those get deleted. I'll go back to the trim key again because I don't want to wipe out everything. Let's see, we'll do that, that. And then, do I leave that guy in there? Sure, I'll leave that one in there. And I'll leave that little, I guess I could undo that. Let me see. Okay, I take that back. I want to leave that stripe back in there. Okay. Decisions. Trim. Okay, we'll leave that in there. There we go. Now, the next thing we need to do is hit finish, so he's on there. But now the next thing we need to do is, there's a couple of things, because these lines are too close. I'm using a 0.4 millimeter nozzle, which is the typical nozzle, and this won't turn out too well because they're just too close. So I need to make these lines bigger so they don't get quite so tight there. Okay, so let's expand some of these. So I'll go up here to the top. We'll start here. So this outside line is fine, but what I'm going to do here is I'll click my S keys, and I want to choose offset. You might not have this on here. These are shortcut keys. If you don't have it, you can search for offset, and that'll load it up there. And let me actually remove mine. So now it's gone. If you want it in your quick keys, just press this to add it to your quick keys. So there's offset. And what I'll do is I'll choose this line, and it tries to offset it. So I can kind of change a little bit here. So I'll change it to roughly there, hit OK, and I'll come back in here, and I can delete the old one. In fact, I don't have to delete all of it, because if I just delete part of it, I can choose it like that. I don't have to do every little bit. So let me go offset some more stuff. Let's see, offset, boom. Hit OK. T for trim, I'll just wipe out something in here. And now you can see much bigger. And I'll keep doing this for everything. Okay, I got most of that done, but then now I want to get the bottom here done, because I don't want this all to be black in this case. So I'm going to make an arc here, I think. So I can do S, do a 3-point arc. I can choose right about there, right about there. Do the whole thing like that. And then this bottom part will be his body, but you know what? I should outline it in black too. So let me go, because that's black, so I'll hit roughly there and go straight down. And now let me make it wider. Let me make it wider. Escape, L for the line key, go down. Let's see. Line key down here, go across. T for trim, trim these up. And, not bad. Okay, we'll save that off. And then we're going to go layer by layer. So the bottom layer, I got to bring a little picture of him in here. Looks like he is going to be orange. Or like a dark brownish color. But he also has orange here. So I'm not sure. I think I have some colors that will kind of do this. But anyway, first color will be the color of his body. That will be the base. And so what we'll do is we will take everything. Okay, now that I finished my sketch, I'm going to select it all, and then press Q for the press pull tool. And so I can take that and kind of pull it into three-dimensional space. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm looking at my colors over here. In fact, I should probably bring that in again. So the first color is going to be kind of like that light brown, his skin color. So, well, I got white. I got a little tiny bit of white. Oh, I got to adjust that again. Okay, 0.4 white. So we got white for his eyes. So we'll extrude 0.4. That'll be our first layer. And if you look at this now, it's as simple as that. So that's going to be all white. And so I can go over here and I can click on here to remove my body so I no longer see it, bring my sketch back, because now I want to choose different things. I don't want to choose everything. I basically want to choose everything except for the eyes. So let's see if I can do that. If I select everything and then zoom in to the whites of his eyes, which should be this, right? Nope. This part, that, and that. So this I'm going to pull up, and that's going to be his skin color, which is kind of brown, a light brown. And I'll say Q for the press pull tool. And now rather than 0.4, I'm going to add 0.2 to that and say 0.6. So I'm doing some math here. Hit OK. And now if I bring back my bodies, I can see I've got a little bit of a layer here, not much. There's a little bit of white that'll show through and the rest will be brown. I'll make my bodies go away again, look at my sketch. And so the next thing I'm going to do is purple. So that'll be a lot of it. So right now we'll look at here and we'll say, okay, so for purple, this part's brown, so that's done. This part's going to be black. So we're going to pull that up too. So everything that, the white's done, the brown's done, but everything else we're going to bring up. So we're going to bring up, and these aren't brown, they're orange. So we'll bring up every one of these. And except for there's brown in his hand, so we'll leave his hands alone. Light brown. Hard to describe that color, like an orangey brown. And his lips are red, so we'll bring that up too. His face is good, but his nostrils, we'll bring those up. And the rest of his eye, we'll bring that up. And his horns are kind of yellow. I'm going to do a little yellow on those. And his hair is more of an orange, but his ears are brown. And so there we go. So press Q for that. And that'll be the purple. We'll say 0.8. 0.8. If I can type. Hit OK. And now if we look at our bodies, we're starting to see a little bit of a shape form. So now come back, and so we've done white, brown, purple. Now the next is orange. So everything, same idea. So we'll choose the black, and then let's see, this is going to be orange, but this one's purple, so we're going to bring that one up. This one's orange, so we'll bring that one up, but this one's purple, so we leave that alone. Orange, orange, purple, orange, let's see, orange, and orange, and his lips are red. We haven't done that yet, so we'll bring that up, and we'll bring his nostrils up, his eyes, and that, and his hair is orange, right? And so we'll say 1 point, and we'll press Q for the press pull tool, and we'll say 1.0. Hit OK. And then now I'll do the next thing. Let's just do the next thing. So the next thing is yellow. So we'll choose, that's going to be black. But now his shirt's done. His lips, we need that. And his nostrils, boom, boom. Bring those up. His hair's done. His horns, because what we're doing. So we'll press Q for the press pull tool and say 1.2 millimeters. And then we'll do the next one, which is going to be red. So we'll choose the black. All that's done. There's the red. There's the black. And Q with the press pull tool, and we'll say 1.4. And lastly, we'll do the black, which should just be this. Press Q and 1.6, right? 1.6. Hit OK. And if I did everything right, I should have something that looks kind of like Pablo. Hey, look at that. Pretty cool. So with that, now I will save it. And then I just have to convert it to an SVG file. So I'll say There's a couple ways to do this. One of the ways I like to do is just right click on this object and say save as STL. We'll save it as an STL. All the defaults are okay, so we'll hit OK. And we'll say Backyardigans, attempt 4, Tyrone. So we'll save that off, and now let's go slice it. Okay, let's see how this goes. So I brought them in. I'm doing them on my Prusa i3 Mark III versus my Prusa Mini because I want to make them kind of as big as I can. And also, right now, at this moment, February 2020, there's a few issues swapping filaments out on the Prusa Mini that hopefully will get worked out here in the near term. So I'm going to click on him, but I want him to be bigger. So I'm going to scale him up 200%, which gets applied to everything, X, Y, and Z, but I don't want it applied to Z because I want it to stay thin. So I'll click on this to uncheck that and put the Z back down to 100%. And hopefully there we go. So we'll take that, and now we'll slice them. So we'll slice them, and then what we're going to have to do now is put in filament change point. So I'll go down here to the very bottom, and I'll say, okay, 0.1 and 0. I want to do, not 0.15, I want to do 0.2. 0.2 quality. And slice. So I'll say 0.2 and 0.4. That should be my white. And then I should change it at 0.6. So right here, I'll put a filament change point. So the bottom part will be white. Now at 0.6, at that level, right at the beginning, it'll allow you to switch out. So I'll say 0.6, and then 0.8 and 1.0. Now that should be my purple. Then I go to 1.0. Yeah, 1.0. Let me see. Where's my brain? So I got 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And did I not do my stuff right? We got 1.4 and 1.6. Oh, I didn't extend it enough, did I? Almost, because I want 2 layers of that. What do I got? This is always fun to think about. So I got 1, 2, 1, 2, and then brown, and then purple, and then yellow. Oh, but I'm going by 0.2s. There we go. I'm doing thin layers. Okay, so we'll say 0.6, 0.8, okay, I need to go back and do my math real quick. Okay, so there we go. We got him set up now, so we'll see how well he does. I may have to switch the layers right now. So we have 2 layers at 0.2 quality for the bottom, and then after that, every layer just has only 1 layer. So it might not look as good as we want to, so we'll see what the colors turn out, how they turn out, and if they don't turn out well. So we'll need a colorment change point at 0.6, 0.8, 1.0, 1.2, 1.4, and then it just fills up the end. And so hopefully that'll get us something decent looking. If not, I could come back here and double this, change it to 200% on the thickness, which will make it a lot thicker, but then I can get 2 layers in and that might do a better job. So we'll see, but let's take it as is, slice it, and print this out and see how well it does. So export the G-code into the Backyardigans. Tyrone. Let's go print it out. Okay, I goobed a couple of things up. So when I first went out to print him, I got most of the layers right, but I didn't do the top layer. And then when I went back and I fixed the top layer, you'll notice his eyes are red. So I kind of messed that one up too. So I had to go back and fix it and do a couple iterations. So to go quickly over what my fix is, if I go into Fusion 360, if you're not familiar with this, down here you have a history. So the last thing I did was I did that pull of the last little bit. So I can right click on that, edit this feature, and what I can do, let me remove the bodies. I've already fixed this, but what had happened is I can hit the shift key and press things and hold them down. So what had happened is those pieces just by accident were not selected. So I hit shift, enter those in. So now they'll be pulled along with the other ones. Hit OK, and now I get what I want. And then after that, right click, save as an STL file, and then bring it, then slice it. And then also, I did a couple of messes up on the slicer, but I fixed it now. So the last thing, so now I brought this in here, did 200%, and the last thing I had to do is, I didn't think about this, the last layer right here needs a change point because it actually is going to print that layer. So you have to hit this plus thing to get that last layer there. And then you can see there's that purple on here, which can end up being black. So in the end, it all worked. Okay, there we go. So now I've got it all printed out, and so I'll do a little time-lapse thing here. So I like to go over the numbers, but in here, there's not a whole lot of numbers to go over, but also since I have two printers now, I have my power unit, my watt meter on the Prusa Mini and not on the Prusa i3 Mark III, so I don't have power usage stats. But anyway, going over the stats on this, it took 1 hour and 12 minutes to print. It took, I don't know, some amount of electricity, but usually electricity is kind of a minor portion. If you look at my other videos, electricity usually doesn't take up a whole lot. And it weighs 0.011 kilograms, which at $20 per kilogram comes out to 22 cents. Now, fudging the numbers, electricity, let's just say it was 3 cents, which is probably an over-exaggeration. So, a quarter to print this all out. So now I've got this little guy, and, my wife thinks it's cool, but, worked out. So there he is. Gonna see what my son thinks about him, and then hopefully probably make some other characters. So that's really interesting thing what you can do. Fusion 360 is a great tool. Really suggest using it if you haven't done it already. But also it's nice that you can take SVG files, and there's tons of SVG files, and you can quickly put them on there, and you could do just a press pull, and you can do a lot of damage with that. There's a lot of cool things you can do. But anyway, I guess enough of this video. Hopefully this helps someone out there. Fusion 360, SVG files, Backyardigans. Hey, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, hey, give it a thumbs down. Also, if you like what we're doing here, subscribe to the channel by clicking the subscribe button. And lastly, have a piece of info to share? Just post a comment.